But the first round is done for the Club World Cup. And let's take a look at the groups and those who qualify from Group A. Of course, Palmeiras and Inter Miami qualified. 5 points each. FC Porto and Al Ahly, one of Africa's representatives, couldn't make it through. In Group B, PSG and Botafogo qualified. Atletico Madrid, even though they had 6 points, Seattle Sounders with 0 points. Quite a sad story there, but Atletico Madrid were unable to qualify. In Group C, Benfica and Bayern Munich went through. In Group D, Flamengo and Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, qualifying in second place with 6 points. Flamengo on top with 7 points. Esperance, one of Africa's representatives, in third place, and LAFC. Internazionale Milano in Group E, of course, winning there. Sergio Ramos' CF Monterrey in second place. And in Group F, of course, you had Borussia Dortmund and Fluminense. Now, this was one that was quite heartbreaking for me. Mamelodi Sundowns, of course, with just 4 points. They had a win and a draw. They were unable to make it that final match, which they went up against Fluminense. If they had won that match, even though it ended with a draw, they would have qualified. But Mamelodi Sundowns gave a good account of themselves. They basically scored one of the goals of the tournament, or maybe the goal of the tournament contender. I'll get to that a little bit later on. But then there's also Group G. Manchester City is the only team that won all 3 matches, qualified with 9 points, up against Juventus, who they whooped, and while up 5-2 yesterday. And Al Ain and Wydad complete that. In Group H, you have Real Madrid, Al Hilal, FC Salzburg, and Pachuca. Now, something quite interesting. Let's just take a look at the group stage in numbers, right? What happened in the group stages? Let's take a look at the numbers when it comes to the stats of the group stages. Now, there's been that talk about tickets not selling when it comes to the Club World Cup. Well, that was not the case, because PSG against Atletico Madrid witnessed 80,619 as the attendance. Prior to that time, Al Ahly, Al Hilal, Pachuca, Inter Miami, Palmeiras, and Real Madrid played in front of crowds of over 60,000 plus. Yes, the ticket prices were reduced, but attendance has been quite good when it comes to the Club World Cup. Now, 169, of course, there were just 169 seconds between 3 second-half goals in that match of the tournament. 4-all draw between FC Porto and Al Ahly. 3 goals were scored in 169 seconds. That's some numbers for you here. And now, for the team that had the most possession ever in any particular match, that would be Internazionale Milano. Inter Milan with 80%. How? How do you have 80% possession against a team? Are those guys training or something? Of course, that was in the match against Urawa Red Diamonds. Before or prior to that, 71%, that was Bayern Munich, and Manchester City also have the best average. But Inter Milan, pardon me, on that one with 80%. And this is one I wanted to talk about when it comes to Mamelodi Sundowns. Lucas Ribeiro collected the ball from 67 yards. That's like half-line from goal, and without losing the ball, he scored a goal of a tournament contender. 67 yards. That's where he picked up the ball from and scored. So, good one there for Mamelodi Sundowns. And then, now, no striker scored. Now, no striker scored until after 39 goals for the Club World Cup. Of course, FC Salzburg, Karim Osino was the first person to do that, as Nigerian, by the way. All right? And then, of course, Fluminense goalkeeper Fabio extended his playing in FIFA tournaments for the longest time to 28 years. Second oldest, I think, in this particular tournament. Of course, he kept 2 clean sheets in 3 games as he was alongside Ronaldinho and Brazil. Okay? And then 22 corners in Auckland City FC against Boca Juniors, which was the most corners of everyone. Borussia Dortmund winger, youngest player, 16 years and 27 days, quite a number of them. And Manchester City scored 13 goals. Still talking about the numbers at the Club World Cup. Bayern Munich's Michael Olise, of course, had the most dribbles, 12. Lionel Messi, 10. Next. So that's something that you can watch for. 5 teams came from behind to win. Inter Miami and all of that. Chelsea, Borussia Dortmund and all of that. And then 4 players scored free kicks in this tournament. That's quite interesting. Of course, Lionel Messi's own is the most famous when it comes to this. That's quite for the numbers there for that one. But let's just take a look. Let's wrap up with this one. Let's take a look at the fixtures for the second round moving forward here. Now, it's going to be quite interesting. Inter Milan will be up against Fluminense. Manchester City will take on Al Hilal. This is the match to watch out for. I am really, really looking forward to this one when it comes to that particular fixture. This, for me, is going to be the star fixture. This one. I'm looking forward to this one, even though I think many will think Manchester City will take it. Of course, Palmeiras will be up against Botafogo. That will be a South American derby there. Benfica will take on Chelsea. Chelsea are taking a look at having hopes to win this tournament. Well, they would have to go past Benfica if they want to do that. And that is the table down to this side. And then on this other way, Lionel Messi will be up against PSG. Inter Miami will take on PSG. Of course, Bayern Munich will take on Flamingos. It will be Real Madrid against Juventus. Borussia Dortmund will take on Sergio Ramos and Monterrey to wrap up. And that is how it goes up onto the finals when it comes to the Club World Cup, and see how all of that will play out. Well, so we'll always give you updates when it comes to the Beautiful Game on the show, and of course on other platforms. You just tune in to the Beautiful Game, you get all the updates. All right, so that's it for the Beautiful Game. Of course, Edgar has some shout outs coming.